everyone, this is Lau, and yeah, welcome to day 5. We're already at day 5 of Vlogmas, so it's the 5th of December today, and yeah, I'm excited to unbox my advent calendars together with you again. So let's just get right into and start with the Mickey head ornaments calendar, the Mickey head baubles. Where is day 5? Ah, here in the corner. Oh, this is the one that oh, this is strange, like, really, is it 5? Day 4 and day 5 are just like beside each other. So it's the one that I almost crashed yesterday, because they don't open very nicely, just to say that again. But, yeah, I ripped the complete calendar apart, but anyways, we have a very nice mint colored one today. But like, as you see here, it is like almost now, who cares? I just care what's inside. This one's really beautiful. I really like that. It is a nice mint color. It looks more blue on camera, but it's not as blue in real life. And it has small polka dots all over, small white polka dots, like snow is falling on this nice minty colored one. Okay, so where can I put it? Maybe I put this one right at the bottom, where I wanted to put the kind of transparent one yesterday, which didn't work out because it was not really showing off. But here, I think we can put this on. It's nice in the center. Alright, just go one more to the side. Put it more like here. Yeah, even better. Cool. Okay. So yesterday, if you watched yesterday's video, you can just re-watch it or whatever, or just go to the video of yesterday if you want to see how I made this calendar. So this is a calendar I made myself, and I have a video up where I made it. So if you want to check out. But the important part now is what's inside. And here are Disney mystery pins inside. So let's check out what's behind the 5th door. I want to say door, but these are more doors. These are more like pouches. So let's see. Where is the 5? Ah, okay, here. Again in the complete, in the, what did I say? At the complete bottom. And in the corner, sorry, that's what I wanted to say. Okay, let's see what it is. I hope I do not make such a mistake as I did yesterday with absolutely not knowing what the pin was, or absolutely mistaking it for something else. Okay, maybe I just look at it. Oh, this is really cute. So this is Thomas O'Malley and Duchess from the Aristocats. So the adult cats, not the 3 young cats, which are actually, you see more often like merch or pins or whatever of Marie. And I'm really happy that this is from the couple set. It shows the adult cats, because the Aristocats was one of my absolutely favorite childhood movies. We used to play it also in kindergarten. I always was the mother, so I always was Duchess, and some of my friends were then Marie and Berlioz and Toulouse. So anyways, such a nice pin. And it's heart-shaped. So cute. Did you see? Their tails are like making like shaping like a heart. This is so cute. And their paws are like together. This is really a cute pin. And I like the light yellow background, so it looks almost like pastel. It's really beautiful. I'm out of Focus. Yeah. So today we had two very nice things, which I really liked. Like I like the color of this one, and I like this pin more than the safari pin yesterday. But anyways, you've seen like me wearing my Star Wars shirt, although this is something Lord of the Rings. Anyways, so because today's video, which comes now, is totally themed after anything Star Wars. So if you're interested how I got into Star Wars and what kind of a Star Wars fan I am, then keep on watching, because I'm answering questions of Star Wars tag. It's not really a tag because I wasn't tagged, but feel free to be tagged if you also want to answer. It's about like favorite Star Wars characters and all that. So yeah, have fun with that and see you tomorrow. So maybe you could already guess that this is going to be a Star Wars kind of video. I just need to get a little bit more light in here, because obviously I won't use the lightsabers for the rest of the video. Was just to get you into the Star Wars spirit. Ooh. With this video I just thought it's like kind of I'm still like in my introduction phase here, so I wanted to tell you a little bit more about me and Star Wars, and that's why I created a Star Wars tag video, and I also like created all these questions that I will answer like myself. I didn't find anything like online that anyone has prepared before, but I will have all my questions here. I will answer them, and afterwards you will kind of know what kind of Star Wars fan I am. So, first question that I wrote down is, how did you get into Star Wars? I could make it very long or very short. Let's try to find like a middle ground. Like in my childhood, like Star Wars wasn't a thing. Like my family didn't know about it. I never like came across it, except for like maybe a TV commercial. I grew up in the 90s, so Star Wars might have been on TV during that time already, like the original trilogy. And I kind of remember being scared of seeing Chewbacca. That's like my only memory from like early childhood days. So, and I remember when we were visiting Tunisia, that they told us that here is the location where they shot this famous sci-fi movie, and I didn't know anything. So I just came across Star Wars during the time of the prequels, and I remember my father borrowing the DVD of episode 1, and I was not interested. Maybe I saw like a couple of minutes, that was it. I was really a big fan of the Lord of the Rings, like around the beginning of the 2000s. So like Star Wars, what's that like? And then like I think it was for my birthday when I was 14, I got my PlayStation 2, and you know, PlayStation 2 was able to play DVDs, so it was my first DVD player. And there was this thing where when you bought a PlayStation 2, you got like one free game and one free DVD. My father just got a game which I don't even remember, and he got episode 2 on DVD, which was probably just released. And yeah, we watched it together because obviously it was then in our household, and we watched it together, and I didn't understand a thing. Like Attack of the Clones, it's like, you know, the middle part of the prequels, and I was like, huh? What are they talking about? Like Federation ships and I don't know, bounty hunter or no, didn't understand. But I kind of liked how it looked. Like, you know, the prequels, they look completely different than the original trilogy in case of everything's clean, everything looks so like polished, and bright colors, like Padme's dresses like had a huge impact on me. Like I was into like movie costumes already because of Lord of the Rings and a little bit of Harry Potter. And then I saw her, like Padme's dresses, like episode 2, she's wearing the most beautiful dresses ever. And I was like, kind of looks good, the movie is like, but I don't understand what it is about. So I watched it like a second time or maybe a third time, and I really got into it. Then I understood what it is about. Aha, and Obi-Wan is searching for who is the, like, after the assassin who is after Padme, and and then it's like a puzzle, a little bit of a mystery, and Anakin and Padme have this love story, and there's this big fight, and and then I understood there's this Jedi Order, and I was really getting into it. Like, it was a time when I was already like a fan of things like Lord of the Rings, when I wanted to know everything about it, books and all the costumes and behind the scenes and and then suddenly there was this new thing for me, like, Star Wars is a thing. And it was probably maybe half a year when I just watched episode 2. And I don't remember like exactly when I then watched episode 1, but this was the second one that I watched, and I think it was on TV around Easter time, so like half a year later. And I loved it because it belonged to that universe, which I got to know through episode 2. And back then I think I just started to realize that these like old movies, which were like in my childhood probably they were, or like whatever in Germany they were, before that they were called Krieg der Sterne, so the original trilogy, Star Wars, Krieg der Sterne, that this thing is now belonging to Star Wars, which I knew from episode 2 and 1, so it's part 4, 5 and 6. Oh my gosh, so this is like a thing, a big thing, so I just realized that probably half a year later. And they were also then on TV, and I watched them, and this was like the starting point of me being super into like Star Wars. Like what I did a lot was designing costumes back then, like drawing things, and but I still would consider myself being that time like a very casual fan, like just knowing the movies, like the 5 movies that were out back then. And I also remember watching then episode 3 in cinema, but just like once, because I didn't have friends who were into it, and my family as well. They were just like, my father went to the cinema because he likes like these big feature movies, yeah, but he didn't understand the story completely, and so it was just my thing, like my very personal thing. And I kind of like had a lot of other interests back then, so I wasn't like fully into this. Like, I know back then there were also comics and books and a lot of other stuff. Also, like, as like I didn't know that there's like this whole like community. Also, like, conventions were not a thing, or like in the first years of my fandom. So I would consider myself totally casual fan. And I also already did a Star Wars costume, like my very first Star Wars cosplay, Queen Amidala, the red Senate gown, is from 2009. So this was then when The Phantom Menace was already like had its 10 years anniversary. And the crazy thing is I'm still wearing that costume sometimes, when Phantom Menace is already now 20 years old. Yeah. And you're wondering probably how I got like being into like the Star Wars kind of super fan, being into everything from TV shows and movies and books and everything. It really started when Michi, so my friend Michi, who I know from cosplay, and I suddenly found out that she's also a Star Wars fan, also like a casual Star Wars fan, and we found out there was this thing called Star Wars Celebration back in 2013 in Essen, which is in Germany, which is like super near to where Michi lived back then. So it was like a 20-minute train drive or something. And we were, there are still tickets available, let's go there. And we were blown away by Star Wars Celebration Europe in 2013. We saw like these huge panels with Mark Hamill and Carrie Fisher and Ian McDiarmid. We were sitting like in the what is it called? Like where Dave Filoni and Pablo Hidalgo told us everything about like behind the scenes. It was behind the scenes stage already. I think it was the beginning of the behind the scenes stage about the Clone Wars, which I had no clue about. So I was sitting in that panel and I was thinking like, who is that guy with a cowboy hat? Like, But it was really interesting. It really intrigued me. Like, who's this character? Like, Ahsoka, I never heard of her. What's that? And like, after the Star Wars Celebration, I started to watch the Clone Wars, which had already 5 seasons, I think, at that point. And it was already like stopped, so everybody knew that there were no future seasons coming, which now it changed, but anyways. So I got fan of the Clone Wars, and this like made me the big fan that I'm right now. I started then reading some novels, which were not like the canon that we have right now, because it was in the transition phase, right before when the new canon was started. So I read some of the old expanded universe books, and yeah, that was the starting point of me being that fan. And I created costume after costume, and I was into like the Clone Wars, all these characters. The new movies then came out, and bam. So that's the fan I am right now. So that's how it went. I don't know why the camera setting is changing. Anyways, this was the first question. And it's already like 11 minutes in, so oh my gosh. Yeah, the next question was, what kind of fan are you? I already explained that I'm like someone who sees the Star Wars like universe, the whole story, like as a one complete thing. So the movies belong together with the TV shows, like the animated ones and now the real live action one, together with the comics and together with the books. And I also definitely like super interested in the games, but I'm not a gamer, so I'm not playing the games, but I want to know everything. Like right now, Jedi Fallen Order, super interested, like the story, oh my gosh. So everything belongs together, and I really like, I'm a fan of these like Easter eggs, when you see something like in the movie, when some character is mentioned, or you hear a character that you just know from Star Wars Rebels, like you see Chopper, or you hear General Syndulla, and then you're like, oh my gosh, or you see seeing the ghost in the movie trailer of The Rise of Skywalker, like it's like, and also the Colossus, like these things make me such a big fan, that like everything comes together and everything's relevant. I mean, not everything's relevant, but everything could be relevant. And I really try to make my way through all the books. I'm a kind of a slow reader. That's a little bit of a bummer, and I don't like to listen to audiobooks. Honestly, I would not know when to listen to them really. So I'm trying to catch up on all the books, and yeah, this is what kind of fan I am. So the next question is like, do you like the prequels or do you like the sequels? You know, there are a lot of fans who are like really just drawn to one era of Star Wars, because they were they started being fans when just the original trilogy was out, and then the prequels came out and they hated it. And for example, now the sequels come out and they hate it. And I'm not that guy, so I became a fan when the prequels were a thing. So like the prequels is my main thing, which I love about Star Wars still, like the era of the Clone Wars, the Clone Wars animated TV show, of course. Like this is the most interesting thing for me, but I absolutely adore the original trilogy. Like don't know what to say like negatively about that. And I also like the sequels, but I'm not so much into it. It's not that I'm hating on it, or it's not that I did not like, for example, The Last Jedi. It's just that I'm not so much into the era right now. I don't know if it's about the characters, because I honestly like the characters. It's just I'm not so much hyped on the sequel trilogy yet. Maybe when it all comes to a close, and when episode 9, like we know then, like how the Skywalker saga is finished, maybe then it makes more sense. But right now, these are the movies that I'm watching least often. So but I still like them. So as I said, there's nothing that I like absolutely dislike. Every era of Star Wars is important to me. Light side or dark side? Definitely a light side girl. I've never been into like the villainous side of like a lot of like fandoms. The only thing where I sometimes like the villains is like Disney villains, so this is another thing. But I'm not into the Sith or like the Empire. I hate the Empire. Not hate, but you know what I mean. I'm not into First Order. This is like, no, I'm full on Jedi, full on rebellion, resistance. I also do like the middle part a lot, like bounty hunters, smugglers, all that scum villainy, where they are not really super good guys because they do bad things, or they change and then they become good or whatever, but they are not really bad guys. So some of my favorite characters are characters that change, for example, from the dark side, become like going to the light side, like for example Asajj Ventress. She's one of my favorite characters. Or also like characters like Hondo Naka is one of my favorites. He's hilarious, he's funny, and he's also not a bad guy, but he's also not a good guy. Like, he's a pirate, you know? Like, so I'm more driven definitely to the light side and never really fully to the dark side. So the Empire and the Sith, that's not my thing. What's the next question? Oh, it's just favorite movie or favorite piece of Star Wars. It's honestly really hard for me to pick, but I think if I have to choose like one favorite movie, now you'll probably think it will be one of the prequels, but no, it is actually A New Hope. This is like the classic, the movie that I like to watch really the most. When I just think, oh, I want to watch a Star Wars movie, then I'm always like tending towards watching A New Hope. So this is probably my favorite like movie in itself, but my favorite Star Wars like piece of Star Wars, then I would definitely go to the Clone Wars animated series. Like, this is, I can watch it over and over again, like all the episodes. I don't know how often I have done a Clone Wars rewatch, probably like 5 or 6 times in my life already. And remember, I didn't start when the Clone Wars started. I started watching it in 2017, so 13, sorry. So like every 2 years probably I do a complete rewatch. And I can't wait for the new season, like in, is it in February? I think it's in February. I can't wait for it, so. What's the next question? Yeah, I often see that like on the internet when people rank the Star Wars movies, which is, I always find that so hard, but I want to give it a try. For me, like, rank the movies from like favorite to least favorite. I think it's easier for me to rank them in these like favorite of the prequels, favorite of the originals and stuff like that, because favorite of the prequels also changes. For example, is sometimes episode 1, sometimes 2, and then 3. I'm not such a big fan of Revenge of the Sith. I don't know why. It's probably because it goes so dark and it's so, every time I'm just like, no, Anakin, just don't. And yeah, I don't know, it's not like my favorite, maybe. So, and then the original trilogy would probably be 4, 6, 5 in order of what I like them, which is probably everyone else would say that Empire is the best. For me, it's not the best. I don't know. It's a middle part and it's super good, but I enjoy 4, so A New Hope and Jedi more than Empire Strikes Back. From the sequels, I cannot say right now because there's not like all 3 of them. And Rogue One and Solo Star Wars Story, they are great. I really adore them. They are perfect, actually, both of them. So if I just like throw all of them together, let's start. I start with episode 4, A New Hope, but this is at the very top. Then probably like episode 1 and 2. Then maybe maybe Rogue One, then Solo, then Episode 6, Return of the Jedi. Yeah, then maybe Empire Strikes Back, Force Awakens, and The Last Jedi. Last Jedi, it's not... When I watched it in cinema, like 2 years ago, I loved it. But ever since, I have just watched it once. So if I don't want to rewatch a movie, it just tells me that I'm not so much into it. So like, still you see the sequels are at the top of my list. At the bottom of my list. Although I do not dislike them. Yeah, the next question I have on my list is, what's your favorite Star Wars character? Well, I think I have 4 favorite characters, which are Leia, Ahsoka, Ventress, and Hera. And it depends on what I was reading, for example, or what I was watching, which is on the top of the list. I would not really rank them. They are all 4 are great female characters, important characters, characters with character development, and yeah, you see my Ahsoka headpiece in the back. She's probably the character that I cosplay the most. But the story arc of Ventress is probably my favorite. And then Leia has so many great characters. She's the original badass woman in Star Wars. And reading, for example, Bloodline or Leia Princess of Alderaan made me love her so much more. And then there's Hera, who is just she's such a great pilot, but she's also caring and being the mother of the Ghost crew, but still a very important leading role in the rebellion, in the Rebel Alliance. So these are probably on the top of my list of favorite characters. Favorite Star Wars memory? Well, the Star Wars celebrations, for example, have been the most important thing when I look back, because you're surrounded by fans, everyone loves the same, you get to meet so many great people, and my favorite memory that I have, I will now explain to you. It happened at Star Wars Celebration Europe in London in 2016. It was a Friday, so the first day of the celebration of the convention, and I was in my Ahsoka cosplay, and I wanted to attend the cosplay competition that day. And it was actually, in the beginning, I was not sure how it worked out, because you had to sign in for prejudging, and at the same time there was a panel supposed to happen that I wanted to watch. Because in the morning there was the panel with Dave Filoni and Ashley Eckstein, the Ahsoka Untold Tales panel. And right when it started, I also had the time when I needed to sign up for the prejudging, but it worked out. I was in my Ahsoka cosplay, sitting in the room with a panel, watching this one of the most important panels that happened concerning the Clone Wars or Ahsoka Tano. So it was Dave Filoni telling Ashley what would have happened after the show was cancelled, what would have happened to Ahsoka, and it was so emotional, and Ashley also started to cry, and I was sitting in my Ahsoka cosplay there. And then afterwards there was the Ahsoka Lives Day, which is always happening at Celebration. And this year it was rather small. It happened at the stage, at the Star Wars show stage, and there were not so many Ahsokas. I was one of the only Ahsoka cosplayers there, maybe 3 others. And I got to meet Ashley, and I got to meet Dave, and in my Ahsoka cosplay after this emotional panel. And yeah, and later on in the day there was the cosplay competition happening with Dave Filoni being one of the judges, me in my Ahsoka cosplay. And I won a third prize in the Jedi category. So this whole day was like Ahsoka, the Clone Wars filled day. It was like probably the best day of my life, probably back then. And then another thing happened, which I was not there, but like Michi, my friend, when like the people who are participating in the contest are backstage, then friends or family members can already go early, like into the panel room and like sit down, like in one of the front rows. So Michi was there, one of the only ones sitting there. And Dave Filoni came in because he was one of the judges. He wanted maybe to check the stage or whatever he was there for. And she was in her Barriss Offee cosplay. I was Ahsoka Tano, she was Barriss Offee, sitting there, just waiting for the panel to happen. And Dave Filoni just straight up went to her. She just explained it to me, so I wasn't there because I was backstage back then. And Dave Filoni came up to her, and she was in Barriss Offee, and she like her hood was like she had taken off her hood, and underneath she had Barriss Offee's like spiky hair, which is just like, we can just see that in one of the Clone Wars episodes. And Dave Filoni went to her and apologized for like giving Barriss this hairstyle, so that Michi like had to wear this wig. She was talking to Dave Filoni about the hair of Barriss Offee, and that he liked the costume that I made, that she was wearing. So it's kind of, he also said that the costume I made was good. And then like this whole day, like it was like one of the best days. So this is kind of my favorite Star Wars memory of all time right now. So yeah. Yeah, the next question that I wrote down is there anything special about you in Star Wars? So like, are you collecting anything, or are you doing costumes? And you, of course, I'm doing a lot of Star Wars costumes. Throughout the years, like as I said, I started with my first Star Wars costume back in 2009. And since then I have made like so many costumes. Most of the characters I'm cosplaying are the animated characters from the Clone Wars, Star Wars Rebels. I'm also planning now one from Resistance, but also like classic characters like Leia, Padme. They will also be important with my like what I'm doing for cosplay. And I'm not part of any of the official costume clubs, so I'm not part of the Rebel Legion or the 501st. I'm honestly just scared of their like costume standards. That's why I never like, maybe my costume would be good enough, but maybe not, because when I'm making the costumes, I'm not taking care of what standards are written somewhere, because I make them how I would imagine them to be, or just as close as I can get. And like I'm not being being forced into using a special material, or that's why I'm really not so much into the costume standards of these official costume clubs. But I would really like to do some charity work and with my costumes in the future. So let's see how it goes, if I find another organization, or maybe just I'm so sorry if the light turns like super yellow and then super white again. It's because the sun is like super changing right now outside. Yeah. So I'm a cosplayer and I do a lot of Star Wars costumes. I'm also collecting some Star Wars things. I'm collecting Funko Pops of Star Wars characters, and I'm collecting some of the Star Wars action figures. So the bigger ones, the Black Series ones, I just tend to get like some characters which are like my favorites. For example, I have one of Hera, or one of Ahsoka. But I'm collecting the smaller, like 3 3/4 inch action figures of Jedis. So I have like a collection of like just Jedi characters in the smaller scale. So to have like a Jedi Council, and it's really fun to just go to like Comic Cons and then see like baskets full of these smaller scale figurines of Star Wars, and scrapped through them. So I've acquired like in the last year, like my whole like collection, which is not big, but I'm still looking for some of the Jedi which are still missing. And yeah, and the rest of it, it's like I have a lot of Star Wars art on my wall. I could show that to you. In my living room there's even more, so I also yeah, I buy a lot of art. Is there anything special more than that? No, I already explained like that I'm reading books and comics and everything. What else? Yeah, maybe I just insert now like a gallery of all of my Star Wars costumes, so one picture per costume that I made, so you are so you know what I've just, or what all my costumes have been. Then I wrote down if I listen to any Star Wars podcasts or watching other Star Wars like YouTubers. Yes, I do. I have like a couple of favorite Star Wars podcasts. There are like not a handful, but I think 3 Star Wars podcasts in Germany, of which I listen to 2 of them regularly. So Radio Tatooine and Blue Milk Blues. Those are my favorite German-speaking Star Wars podcasts. Now I think there are 2 more, but I just not often, like I don't listen to them a lot. And then there are some like international Star Wars podcasts, or let's say probably the All American. And my favorites are probably the Dorky Diva Show and Sky Talkers. Like these 2, like Sky Talkers and also Savannah from the Dorky Diva Show, I met at last Star Wars Celebration, and I really just like that they are so positive. They're not hating, I mean they are also critical, but they just have a ton of fun, and like Sky Talkers is really like good in digging into like the deeper meaning of special themes, topics, movies. So they're really like into deeper meanings. That's also like I could not interpret things like they do. So this is also very great. And in case of YouTubers, of course, I watch Star Wars Explained. They're phenomenal. Like for example, like I can't read every book like exactly when it's out, or every comic which is not even released in Germany so early. And for example, video games, and I get everything like in case of the Star Wars lore, or in case of like story development and characters from Star Wars Explained. And on top, they both are like super cute and super interesting, and people like the from Star Wars Explained. So yeah, this is what I'm like definitely doing in my free time. I listen to Star Wars podcasts and I watch Star Wars YouTubers. The last thing, I don't have to look at my phone anymore, is I know that I wrote down like what's my favorite Star Wars quote. And this might be kind of cheesy or just like it's such a common quote, but my favorite is definitely when Yoda says do or do not, there is no try. Because this is actually like what I think it is so true. I'm trying to live after that, because just like for example cosplay, I don't know how to do it, should I do it, not? Just do it, just start. Not I will maybe try to do it, just do it, or just don't do it, just do or do not, and then you will get something in the end. Or with like YouTube, right now I have no clue, I'm just doing it, you know. I couldn't do it for a long time because my computer was broken. Then just do it, and not say I will try it and then not. This is like my favorite quote from Yoda. So do or do not, there is no try. And I hope I didn't like talk too much. I don't know how long this video will turn out, because I could talk about forever and ever and ever. Like for example about the Mandalorian right now. Oh my god, like how cute is Baby Yoda? Oh, and all the things that I'm excited for, like Rise of Skywalker. Right now I'm waiting for a book which is just not appearing at my door. Like I don't know why it takes so long. Because before the Rise of Skywalker I definitely want to read Resistance Reborn. And I could also talk all day long about like Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, you know, Batuu in the Disney parks. Oh, I want to go there so badly, but I think like next year in August I will be in Disneyland, so I will have the chance to see that like on my own. All that stuff. I want to see that Hondo Ohnaka animatronic. I could talk about Star Wars all day long. So I finished this video off now. So may the Force be with you, and maybe see you in the next video. Bye! I'm so bad with this. Especially in front of the camera. They are huge, you know.